Now, when we were reorganizing the press office, we split it up. It was precisely because the old news cycle of 6 o'clock TV news and then the morning papers had evolved to the point where it was a 24-hour news cycle and there were different media. And President Aquino felt that we needed to reorganize the traditional press office. So it was basically split in two, and I got the strategy and the messaging. And for some reason, I also ended up with most of the new media initiatives. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we're doing. But let me give you a little bit of background first. There's 100 million people in the Philippines, about 100 million people, and 31.6 million of them have some kind of presence online, some regular access to the internet. That's about, well, 30% of the population. Look at this. There are 29.6 million Filipinos on Facebook. I think this includes some of the Filipinos living overseas. But if you count that as a percentage of the domestic population, again, we're talking about 30%. That makes us number 8 in the world in terms of nationalities who use Facebook. We're also obviously on Twitter. There's about 5 million Filipinos tweeting regularly. And we're also one of the bigger users of YouTube. We are ranked 3rd highest number of YouTube users in the Asia-Pacific region. So we're all over the place and you can't ignore it, especially if you're a government that has promised transparency and openness. There's no way you can ignore this platform. And just to add, I said there were 100 million Filipinos. There are 95 million cell phone subscriptions. Obviously, some people have 2 or 3 phones, but still, significant number of people have access to cell phones. Many of them, increasingly, are smartphones, which can download content from the internet. Let me walk you through something that has been sort of the main thing that we've done. This is what you call the official gazette. This was created by law during the Spanish colonial period. It was, by law, the official journal of the Philippine government. It publishes executive issuances, republic acts, departmental issuances, memorandum circulars, proclamation orders, and the like. Every month, this is published by law on a thick piece of paper, sent to public libraries, government offices, and you're supposed to be able to get access to all the official documentation that's out there that we allow to be out there. This is how it looked in 1906. It was in Spanish. We used to speak Spanish. We don't anymore. After the American occupation, shortly after, it became in English. So this is from 1943. And this used to come out every month. You can imagine, really thick piece of, a really thick sort of book, spread out all over the place, really boring. Who reads it? Who even wants to read it? We felt, because it's part of the law and it's required by the law for the government to publish it, we decided to jazz it up, make it more interesting. This is the official gazette of the 21st century. It's online. It has all that stuff, all that boring stuff that people don't really read except for academics and reporters. But it also has stuff that makes it more interesting. Statements coming from the government, infographics on things that we're doing, government agencies, all the public statements, press releases, transcripts from different interviews, all there. We also partnered with the Philippine Supreme Court. We're taking their historical records, we're putting them online, and we're helping them do that with their own website. Ultimately, we would like the official gazette to be the single portal for all kinds of government information that you have access, that you would want access to. Let me just give you some examples of what we put on the official gazette that is not something normal. This is what I told you about. Everybody's making statements. The Deputy Presidential Spokesman, the Secretary of Economic Planning. It's all there, both in English and in Filipino, because we want to make it accessible. It's not just for that. I mean, for citizens, what's the use? If you're not interested in what our government has to say, and most people probably aren't interested, so what practical information is on there? You have your pension. How do you get your pension card? How do you get your taxpayer identification number? How do you get your passport? All the things that you need to do to transact with the government as an ordinary citizen, we give you information on that. Even if you were a business and you want to file electronically, you want to register your business, we give you the instructions for that. If you're a non-resident and you're applying for a non-immigrant visa or you want tourist information, it's all there. So that when you go and try to apply for a license, you know exactly what the process is. You know if someone's trying to do something that they're not supposed to do. So it helps make things easier for the public, and it helps reduce corruption. This is the infographic for passport applications, just to show you the kind of thing we do. Because nobody likes to read just straight text. So what we do is we put an infographic to make it more interesting. And we have been getting a couple of accolades for what we've been doing. Still, it's early days, so it's going to take some time before we see the full impact of that. Not everything is fully operational yet. We think that it's going to take several years to actually get things going. We want at some point for you to be able to actually register your business online through the official gazette, but that's going to take a few years. Okay, this is another thing that we do. A little bit of a promotional stuff. Our government is pushing tourism as a means for driving economic growth. We're helping the Department of Tourism by disseminating data on tourism and showing people samples of our latest marketing campaign. The official gazette is a website, and as I said, 90% of the people on it on the internet are on Facebook, so it's got mirror sites. We use Twitter a lot, YouTube, Tumblr, Scribd. They all have their own different characteristics, which makes it interesting for different users. But as you can see, this is where the Facebook page is. That's the Tumblr page, and that's the Scribd page. Different information, data articles related to what's on the official gazette. If you want more depth into what you're reading on the official gazette, you can check out these pages here. All of this, of course, is interactive. I think we all know that when you go on social media, it's never a one-way street. And everybody expects, demands the ability to interact with you. So we've got forums. People can come in and they can comment. We employ people full-time just to answer the queries that we get, minimum of 50 a day, and rising, I think. So we're actually hiring more people so that they can interact with the people who send us feedback. It's very important that you give feedback, because the one thing I learned when we started going online is, like I said, it's not a one-way street. They demand, they expect you to be able to respond to them and for them to be able to respond to you. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It's just another form of text. This is where most of the interaction comes in. You know how it is, 140 characters. If something new comes out, we tweet. I have a personal Twitter account, which I've been using since before I joined government. People in my office have done that, and we respond now officially to queries from the media, from ordinary citizens. I get tweeted requests for help because somebody's relative went missing in Saudi Arabia, and can you ask the embassy to see what they can do, things like that. There's a lot of demands when you go out there and put yourself out there. There's a lot of demands for you to be able to interact and respond, and it's not easy all the time, and we've all made mistakes. Okay, part of what we've done had a lot to do with, what we did was informed a lot by what we saw other people, other governments doing. For example, in the United States, this is a quote from NPR. The Obama campaign, as you all know, used social media very aggressively during the campaign to fundraise, to mobilize volunteers and all that. We just finished a midterm election for the Senate, and many of the candidates in my country did the same thing. But I don't think we're there yet. There were people who tried to raise money online. You can't really do that yet for political purposes. And here's an interesting thing. Most of the candidates were very active on social media, but the three candidates who were most positively received, meaning that the comments about them and the interactions with them were most positive, were three candidates who did not make it into the Senate. So it's not it's not as powerful yet as it is in the United States for political purposes. But, so we're doing something different. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but, so we're doing something a little different. In Britain, the government of Prime Minister Cameron is experimenting with ways to use social media to get people to pay taxes on time and in the right amounts. And I don't have the details, but I was told that they've got some success and they're pursuing it. They were successful enough that the government of New South Wales in Australia is trying to do the same thing, to use social media to get people to talk to the people they know on Facebook and to get them to pay their fines, pay their taxes and all of that. Again, it's a slightly different environment in the Philippines, and we're not at that point where we can do that yet. But where we've found it very useful to engage the public is during disasters. Last year there was a typhoon, flooded most parts of Luzon. A lot of people killed, a lot of people left without their houses. We were very active on Twitter, using Twitter information to give them weather updates, situational updates in places where there were floods. We had gotten a flood of donations. Aside from what the government has for disaster relief, we got a flood of donations from people. And the problem became, we didn't have enough people, volunteers, to pack up the goods so that they could be distributed. So what we did was we went to the warehouse, one of the warehouses where they were being packed. We shot this video. I don't know if I can do this, but we shot a video of the Secretary of Social Welfare basically asking people to come and help pack the goods. Well, anyway, we can do without the video. There was a video, it was 1 minute long. Basically, the secretary was saying, we need help packing the goods. There were about 150, 200 volunteers in the warehouse the night we filmed this video. We put it online within hours. The next morning, 800 people showed up. I don't know how many people showed up afterwards, but, 800 in a matter of 12 hours I thought was pretty good. We also used social media to try to determine where what happened was the storms left a lot of potholes, and people were complaining about the potholes. So we did a program, we hashtagged it Lubak to Normal, which means report the potholes that you see on social media, report it to us, and we will send the Department of Public Works to fix it. And we kind of promised that we would do it in a month. We didn't actually do it in a month, but we engaged the public, they reported where there were problems, and to a large part we got them fixed. We also partnered with Google for the rescue effort. Google Maps helped us by putting up the infrastructure so that you could click on one area and you could see whether it was flooded or not. There would be pictures, you'd see the status of relief. It was pretty well received, and I think we did our bit to engage the public, and the public who didn't want to feel helpless during a disaster actually contributed to the solution, and everybody was happy all around. We even got some positive notice from the media about those initiatives. So we're kind of proud of that. Here's how we did it. We tagged the media. We tagged people who are very influential, who have a lot of followers. We asked them to retweet. It's not just the media, and it's not just government offices. One of the people tagged here, this one here, she's a movie actress. She has 2 million followers. So one retweet from her helps spread the message very quickly. I need to mention also, for Twitter, the most practical, most popular government Twitter accounts, the MMDA, the Metro Manila Development Authority. You log on, you follow them. Their feed will give you traffic updates regularly. The Pag-asa is the government weather forecasting. People follow them, especially when there's a storm coming. They give updates every 30 minutes if there's a storm coming. So those are the things we're doing to engage the public. I need to say before I end that we're part of the Open Data Initiative. This is a long-term project, and what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create an online portal that serves as a central source of machine-readable data sets produced by the government. Every department eventually will put their data up. Data.gov.ph will be the most comprehensive set of information on government, about government, and from government that is available online. And we eventually, once you get the data out there, we will create apps to make it easier to sort through the data and get you what you want. But it's also open, so anybody who wants to create apps for that, at some point we envision they can do that. Last, developments and procurement. This is how we've saved a lot of money. There's a site called Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System. It's an online facility where government offices ask for what they need. I need 1 million paper clips, and I need someone to supply that. I put it online. All the people who generally supply the government visit that site. Then there's bidding, there's tracking, there's all of that. And it's actually saved a lot of money for the government, and it's saved a lot of money for suppliers because they save on trips to the office and all the physical aspects of bidding because it can all be done online. That's just how the site looks. These are just for everyday procurement. We figure that because of the procurement reforms, including the online bidding, we have been able to increase the budget since President Aquino came in 267% for social welfare, 64% for agriculture, 44% for education, and 78% for health, without raising taxes. And we think we've done that because we have streamlined the way the government procures things. And we've eliminated a lot of the waste and the corruption. We also think that we're saving, once this is all done, we could be saving as much as $550 million a year on ICT procurement. So it's a work in progress. We're still working on it. There's still things that can't be procured online, like jets, guns, missiles. But we're working on getting all the simple things online so that you can actually make it easier. Anyway, I think it's better if we take some questions, and so I'll be prepared to take some questions after the next presentation. This is just some of the contact details, www.gov.ph. This is my office website. We can provide that for you. These are just the different websites that we have and different ways that you can interact with us. So, hope that was interesting. Thank you.